to the entertaining Talkin' Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video as the New York Giants are starting to use some of that cap space money to retain some of the depth from last year's roster. Made a video yesterday, I think, reporting on the Elijah Penny signing. And now news came out just about 15 minutes ago that the Giants will be bringing back linebacker David Mayo, formerly of the Carolina Panthers. Last year when the New York Giants brought in Mayo, they brought him in for special teams. That's what I originally remember hearing when they brought him in preseason. He was thought to be a pretty good special teams contributor. None of us really thought that he would be a starting linebacker for the New York Giants. Of course, they had a number of injuries. He got his opportunity with Conley going down. Ogletree missed a little bit of time, and he stepped in and played fairly well. Matter of fact, he was extremely good against the run. I remember making a video on that per PFF that he was graded as one of the top 3 or 4 middle linebackers in the sport in run defense. Now, where he struggles mightily is in pass coverage and the entire New York Giants linebacking core in general. Now, bringing back Mayo, I thought it was inevitable. I've said that in a few videos. He's one of the depth pieces that I thought they would have brought back. To me, signals that you're probably not looking for a linebacker like Blake Martinez in free agency. I think they're very similar. Obviously, Martinez is a much more accomplished linebacker. The guy's led the league in tackles, I think, over the course of the last 3 seasons combined. But they're similar in the sense that they're guys that are tackle guys, right? Mayo had, I think, 90 combined tackles last year, and he didn't even start every game. Now, will he be the starter? I don't know. I would prefer he's not. We'll have to wait and see what they do in free agency and in the draft. But if the season were to start today, assuming that Ryan Conley's not going to be 100% yet back into playing shape, Mayo would probably be one of the starters in the linebacking core. But that could change, obviously, with the draft and free agency. I would prefer him to be a depth piece. He definitely demonstrated, though, that, in a pickle, he could step in as a starter and be a solid contributor. But they definitely need somebody at that position that is much better in pass coverage. But nonetheless, I think it's a good idea to bring him back. I assume that they would, along with guys like Cody Core. I hope they bring back. He was a great special teams contributor. And a few others. We'll have to see what they decide to do with Latimer, with Corey Coleman, and I'm sure we'll get those answers shortly. But let's jump into some of the quotes about David Mayo. First, I wanted to show you the news that was broken by Dan Dugan on Twitter about 15-20 minutes ago. Giants have signed linebacker David Mayo to a 3-year extension per source. Mayo stepped in and started 13 games last season. Okay? And this is how he did with the New York Giants after playing 4 seasons with the Carolina Panthers. Didn't really get a lot of time there. You take a look at his combined tackles for his career. He only has 144 for his career. 82 came last year with the New York Giants. He's been in the league for 5 years. He'll be 27. He'll be 29 at the conclusion of the contract. Like I said, the monetary value has not come out yet. So we don't know, how much he's getting paid per year and when they might be able to get rid of him if he's not performing up to the contract. So we'll wait on the details with that. But the details for Penny, I don't believe came out either. Knew that it was a 2-year extension. But yeah, last year with the Giants, had 2 sacks, 82 combined tackles in the 13 starts he was provided. And like I said, he was strongest against the run. And I remember reading an article about this, making a video on it. And this was just one of the quotes from it. The Giants have been strong against the run all season, thanks in part to Mayo and their 4-headed monster along the defensive line, which begs the question, will the Giants bring back Mayo in 2020? Well, they did, and I think that's a good point as to why he might have graded as strongly as he did against the run. I remember mentioning that in my video. They had a very good defensive line in regards to stopping the run. Dalvin Tomlinson, Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence are run stuffers, guys that clog up the holes, and the Giants' defense was pretty solid in that aspect. Where they struggled was pass coverage. That's something that David Mayo will not help them with. But he's certainly a guy that could help them in terms of depth, and I think he's a solid piece to the New York Giants roster. I just don't necessarily view him as an every down player for the Giants, and hopefully they improve that linebacking core. But regardless, I'm glad Mayo's back as long as the contract is reasonable, which I suspect it will be. I don't think it's going to be anything more than $1.5 million a year, maybe. I think he was making about $700,000 last year. It wasn't much. Maybe he'll make $2 million a year tops. We'll have to wait and see on the details as the New York Giants continue to fill out their roster in free agency. But just wanted to get a quick video up for you guys in case you hadn't heard that David Mayo, the linebacker, will be back with the New York Giants next year. As always, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.